Cheers, golf addicts. DB back at you with Pat Perry. We are the Tour Junkies. This is the 2021 Houston Open, sponsored by a computer company. I'm excited, Pat. Ready to be back here. Now, the golf tournament sponsored by a computer company, but we're sponsored by Covers, not a computer company. But you can access them on your computer, which is cool. You know, full circle.
You can access most things.
Full circle.
That was a good segue into that.
Yeah, I nailed that. I mean, it took me all week off to figure that one out. But winning starts at Covers. It's the place for people who love sports and love to win. You got the NFL running hot and heavy. College football, our dogs doing their thing right now. NHL, NBA is going on, and Covers.com is where you need to go to start the betting process. Our articles going up on Covers every week. Listen, you know, we publish the outright betting cards, and we publish the other stuff that we publish, right? But you know what we don't publish? And that's top 20s. That's head-to-head matchups. Those all get published on Covers.com. So if you want that, you can get it for free. You don't even have to sign up for anything. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to do anything. You just have to go to Covers.com and look for the content. We tweet out the link. We'll put it on Instagram. But Covers gives you everything you need to know. If you're shopping lines for betting on anything, like Covers has it for you. They serve over 20 million sports bettors annually, and it's the place where you can go and connect with 500,000 current members in the Covers forum. It's an incredible place to go. So check out Covers.com, and we appreciate Covers for sponsoring the Tour Junkies podcast, because we're a ratchet operation. You know, we got pretty ratchet last week, we did get last week, but last show, we just finished the draft.
What do you mean we got ratchet last week? I thought it's just perfectly fine.
You know, when you're by yourself and it's like 6-minute ad reads and it's,
I'm just giving Covers their due, giving some time to
format of the show and all, Pat just doing his thing, cowboying it up. It gets a little wild. It gets a little weird. But props to you for that, though, last week, Pat. You nailed Victor Hovland. You had talked him up on the DraftKings show. You talked him up on the betting show here. Talking about Victor Hovland at 17-1. Props to you. I'm not really enjoying the fall swing season because it's not long shot season. Last year we hit Hudson Swafford, at the Bermuda. You had him on your first round leader bet. You had him on your betting card article, first round leader, 100-1. I had him at 150-1, the same tournament outright. We hit that. We hit other long shots, right? But it's like this year, it's like Sam Burns is winning and friggin' Victor Hovland's winning and like all these short numbers. I don't like it. I need length.
Maybe it changes this week for you. You just don't know.
I'm ready for it too, but props to you for last week. This week we do have Mark, our boy Mark Hill, our resident European Tour expert podcaster, will be breaking down the Golf in Dubai Championship at the Fire Course. And then next week he will have a special guest on for that show. Very special guest. And they'll be breaking down the DP World Tour Championship, the season's final event over there for the European Tour. That's going to be a great show. But check out Mark Hill's podcast. It'll be on our same feed if you listen on wherever you listen to audio podcasts. It'll also be on our YouTube channel. Mark Hill's doing a great job for us. We appreciate it. And we do have a very special guest coming up in just a moment. You're gonna love this guy. I'm worried you might like him more than you like us. And you might not even like us. So it's not saying much, but I'm a little worried about it, is all I got to say. He's a great dude. And we got a big announcement coming. I'm excited for that. So you're going to want to stick around for that after we make our picks here in a second. But I think that's all the big oh, no, we are going to do two more. So we got the RSM next week. We're going to break down the RSM. And then the week after, or not the week after, but at some point before the end of the year, we're going to do an award show for the previous PGA Tour season. We're going to give awards to players, to listeners, okay? It's the Golden Golbies, first annual. Shout out. So in the comments on YouTube, tell us your favorite moment from this past season. It could be anything. Give it to us. And then we're also going to do a look ahead, kind of, year ahead, 2022. Let's talk about majors. Let's talk about storylines. Let's talk about who's the Stewart Sink of 2022. Whatever. Put that in the comments too. If you got a question, if you got a topic you want us to talk about on that show, hit us up. Let us know. Put that in the YouTube comments. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a like. Give it a subscribe. All that good stuff. We'd appreciate it. It helps out the show. All right, Pat, let's get to it. We did a full course breakdown on Memorial Park Golf Course on the last show, on the DFS show. They can go back and listen to that if they want it. Mm-hmm. Any big thing, big takeaways, what's the number 4 things? Number 4 things. The tequila's starting to hit me already here.
What are you talking about?
that are most important to you when handicapping this golf tournament?
I mean, when I'm looking at this golf tournament, I mean, if you even listen to any of what the players are saying, I mean, it is you got to be long off the tee.
Mm,
It's 7,400 yards, par 70. There's a lot of long par fours, I think, and that's where the defense is. But it's really around the greens here. It's there's a lot of runoffs. They run pretty quick. A lot of slope here on these greens, so I think that's going to be key. It's a weird layout, but for me, I'm definitely going to look at scrambling, looking at approach, putting on Bermuda, and then just guys that got that length. That's what
mm.
that's what they need. You look at Carlos Ortiz. He was the winner here in 2020, which was the first time they played on this course recently. He ranked 14th in approach, second around the green, and fifth in putting on Bermuda that week. So just a little insight on last year's winner. And he was 13 under. I mean, this is a difficult course. I mean, you look at, as far as it was the fifth toughest non-major course last year in 2020. So it's not going to be easy. I think maybe the second year around, though, because they redid it in 2019. Takes a little while for courses to kind of come into their own after a little bit of a redesign and a redo. So who knows what this year will bring, but should be a fun event.
Did you change your shirt?
I put on a hoodie.
Oh,
got
you
a little
didn't.
chilly. Got a little chilly up here.
You didn't even put on our own hoodie that you could possibly market or advertise to anyone.
No, because it doesn't show up anyway, and this one's like a thin one because I was still a little bit warm, and so I didn't want like ours is a little thicker. So
Okay, yeah.
how does that even matter?
I just noticed it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, tougher course than what we've been seeing these last couple weeks. Par's your friend on a lot of these golf holes. And I'm looking forward to it. Distance for sure. Got to have some pop in the bat. Approach play for sure. Being able to get up and down, scramble on these Bermuda lies, these tight Bermuda lies off these greens. There's a lot of undulation on these larger green surfaces. So if you miss the proper level, you're going to be chipping off some nasty Bermuda surfaces. So I looked at that, and just being able to get up and down, do your thing, roll the rock on the Bermuda, and let's do it. But this is kind of a grinder type of course, it seems like. I mean, only a small sample size, one year to look at. But our boy Brooks Koepka had some input, quote unquote, with Tom Doak on designing this place. And you got to figure, Brooks said, hey, let's make it tough, right? Like Brooks wants it to be tough. That's what he wants. So, yeah, that's about it. Let's go. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, though, what's really popping off right now is not PGA Tour golf. It's not. It's the wrong time of year. It's NFL season. The Manning brothers are on every Monday night. Nobody cares about us on Monday night, but people do care about cryptocurrency, Pat. In fact, a lot of people in the Nut Hut are making a lot of money on cryptocurrency because the Nut Hut has its own dedicated crypto channel. We're crushing it in there, but we do not give investment advice. But if you're interested in investing in cryptocurrencies, our friends at Kraken are here to help you out and get started. You can buy and sell over 50 of the most popular cryptos like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, all that good stuff on the go 24/7. Really easy to get started. You can just download the app, create your account, and you are investing in minutes. And, although crypto is like $67,000 right now, worth $67,000 right now, you can invest like $10 worth on the Kraken app. It's super easy to get started. That's all you got to do. You can just dip your toe in and find out for yourself why the Kraken app has been one of the most highest rated places to buy crypto for the last 10 years. So visit kraken.com/tour junkies. That's KRAKEN.com/tour junkies, or search Kraken in the App Store. It's a phenomenal app, phenomenal partner. We love some crypto, boy. Our Nut Hut we crush crypto in the Nut Hut. Crush it. We didn't even talk about this on the DraftKings show, Pat. We had a ton of listeners win a ass ton of money last week.
There was some good. Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that. We had
Is that thanks to me doing a show by myself? I don't know.
Of course not.
It could be.
I put my picks in the caddy channel. channel.
Okay.
No, yeah, it's probably mostly you, man. It's probably mostly you. But it was also a lot of football too. So these people don't realize this. The Nut Hut is not just golf, baby. We got football, NBA, UFC, all the thing. NHL.
A lot of sharp people.
We got a channel on all that, and we're not the sharps on any of it. Even the golf, we're not the sharps on. But we got other people in there who are really freaking good at it, and people are making a bunch of money. I don't know. Maybe I'll go and look it up during the show when you're talking or something. But we had like some $15,000 winner, $20,000 winner. We had some big hits last week in the Nut Hut. So shout out to those folks. That's great. All right, let's talk about some outright bets we like. We're going to hit those. We're going to hit some top 20s. We're going to recap the favorites, the ones we think you need to jump on now. But Pat, starting with the favorites up to 25-1. Anybody in here you like, and who's a name that you think you might want to stay away from?
Well, I'm going to start with Sam Burns. And I know I'm going with the guy that's got the shortest odds to win in this tournament, but there is a little differential
Not
in what
on
I'm
brand for us.
Yeah, it's not. But I still think 16-1 on PointsBet. He's 12-1 on DraftKings, but he's 16-1 on PointsBet. I like that number, so I will go with some Sam Burns there. If we're in this shorter range here, I'm just I would have some fear of missing out, some FOMO as the kids call it.
There we go. Those kids
on Sam Burns if I don't put any money on him. But then I like Sung J M at 20-1. Big fan of Sung J. I know he's not that long off the tee, but still, I think everything else about this course fits his game. So I like Sung J there at 20-1. I think the guy I'm going to avoid is Cam Smith.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think Cam Smith's going to be the one I avoid here in the shorter odds.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
What do you mean you're not feeling it? What is that?
Yeah,
He's a great scrambler. Fantastic scrambler.
He's a good scrambler.
Good iron player.
Well, he's not very accurate off the tee, not very long off the tee.
The tee game is
73rd in the field in strokes gained off the tee.
Tee game's a little sus.
I don't know. I think Cam Smith.
I mean, so is Sung J. Sung J's the same way.
I don't care. I like Sung J.
You don't care. You don't care.
No, Sung J is a little more accurate off the tee. I do think that's going to make a little bit of a difference than Cam is. Cam is not very accurate off the tee. Have you seen his tee game? Do you remember that tournament a few weeks ago where it was like a few months ago where he had a chance to win and he just freaking sailed it off the planet?
Yeah, but how does he show up at these tough tournaments? Like, that's the only thing that scares me about Cam Smith. We didn't talk about him in the DFS show, but it scares me to fade him here because he is so good on tough golf courses. Like, I don't know how. I mean, obviously he's a great scrambler. He's probably one of the best in this field. Maybe the best in the world.
I mean, you're kind of asking a difficult question by saying, who are you going to fade under 25-1?
It is tough. It is tough.
I mean, shit. Everybody in here is like tough to fade.
It's a tough life for Pat. I know, man.
Okay, who are you going to fade under 25-1?
My fade, and it's tough. It's tough.
Like I just said.
It's tough. But I guess my reasoning for fading him did I say that right? My reasoning for fading? Yeah. My reasoning for fading him is he just hadn't done it yet, man. That's my boy Gooch, and I love Gooch. The Gooch is loose. He's doing it, man. He's been so close. I normally love to bet guys to win outright if they've either done it before or if they've been in the last group or two at least once or twice, which he has.
This shouldn't count.
Which he has.
Because
he's 22-1.
But he's 33-1 on PointsBet.
Oh, that's a great deal. I think I might get that.
That changes.
Well, my fade is Gooch on DraftKings, and my play is Gooch on PointsBet because he's 22-1 on DraftKings, 33-1 on PointsBet. This is why I do line shopping, folks. This is why I got to have more than one book if you're going to do this. All right. But I mean, yeah,
I agree.
He's not one of my favorites up here. I don't mind him in DFS. He's really cheap. I mean, in the lower nines in DFS, I don't mind it. Are we going to see him get it done over, are we finally going to see him, do it on a track like this? I don't know. Maybe we will. He's definitely come very close. It would not shock me, but it's not one that I feel so good about as the, top 5 or 6th guy on the betting board. I don't love that. Okay. I like Scheffler. If I'm going to go short here, I like Scheffler at 18-1. I'm sure if Chalk Bomb Ben even still listens to this show, he's probably been waiting on me to say something like, he's the Texas guy, right? He's played at UT, and he's a Texas guy. We're in Texas, and that means all Texas guys play well in Texas, right? Ben's been waiting on me to say that. I haven't said that yet, but here it is. But Scotty Scheffler, I mean, I love Scotty. I'm ready for him to go ahead and get the deal done. I mean, how crazy would it be for Gooch to win before Scotty Scheffler wins? That would be That would be gooch-tastic, but very weird is what I say. But he's at 18-1 on both PointsBet and DraftKings. But my favorite bet by far in here, I'm only going to have one bet in here, and it's probably going to be Matt Wolff at 25-1. No doubt, no ifs, ands, buts about it. The dude's playing so good right now. Got all the distance you need here, and he's playing well, and he's confident. He's actually scrambling really well. So I'm all in on Matt Wolff at 25-1. I think that's a good deal. Oh, 30-1 on PointsBet? No, that number's gone up. That number's gone up. It was not 30-1 when I looked earlier. He's 30-1 on PointsBet. Then I have no one here. I have Scotty Scheffler. Next range, I have Matt Wolff at 30-1. And surprise, Taylor Gooch at 33-1. Yeah.
So this is all over the place. Well, I like both of those. I like BK though. I like Brooks Koepka here at 30-1.
Nope.
I'm gonna play him.
Nope.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do Brooks Koepka at 30-1.
Not doing it.
I just think look.
He had some input on the course, so now he's all of a sudden.
I'm not saying I didn't
his
say
irons
that.
are going to be magically good.
I
again.
did not say that, but I still think on a tough golf course like this, he can have a good week. He's out of vacation mode.
No.
Who knows? So I like Brooks Koepka. You get him at 30-1. 30-1.
No,
Brooks
you're
Koepka.
right. You're right. That is a number with a guy like that you just do it. It's kind of an auto bet.
Yeah,
it really is. You're right.
Sam, we're out of this fate. Yeah, there you go. Change that graphic.
Oh, look at Pat calling shots here. Look, he's paying enough attention to call the lower thirds.
Sorry, Mr. Perry. Sorry. Sorry. It won't happen again. I'm sorry.
I mean, I hosted the show by myself last week, Sam. I know how these things go now.
Yeah.
Okay?
You don't even need me anymore, really.
I know it's supposed to be happening. Okay. I almost put the graphic up myself because I even know where to go to do that.
Sorry, I'll pay attention now. I'm sorry.
I can't even. The lines have moved because an hour before our DFS show, I wrote these lines down, and I'm already seeing another one that's different. Aaron Wise is 33-1 on PointsBet in this mid tier. I love that. I mean, that's one of my favorite bets. The guy's playing so good right now. He's won his only PGA Tour victories in Texas at the Byron Nelson. Surprisingly, putts better on Bermuda. Short game, pretty good. On Bermuda as well. I mean, he's actually one of the best Bermuda putters in this field, which is nuts because Aaron Wise is not known as a good putter, but he's checking the boxes when it comes to Bermuda. So I'm in on Aaron Wise at 33-1. Man, I got to check these other lines. Go ahead and pop off a few others if you see any at the up to 75 range here.
Well, a couple that I like here. I like Jason Kokrak at 50-1. I think we didn't talk about him at all on the DFS show, but I think this is a good course fit for old Kokrak. I think 50-1 is a good number for him. Big fan of him at that number. And then also Max Homa at 60-1. I know you did not like him on the DFS show, but I think 60-1 is a little bit too long for that guy. And you know what? I talked about having a little FOMO on was it Sam Burns? I'm definitely I mean, can you imagine Sunday, DB?
No, I can't tell you right now.
If you don't have any Max Homa on your card,
I can imagine that. Yes,
and he's there, it's 60-1, and you decided not to bet him this week. Like, I mean, you can't.
I can because he's not going to win. He's not going to win two events in the fall season.
How is he not going to win? How can he not? I mean,
I love Max, but he's just not
60-1. I love it.
What was the one he won? Did he win Fortinet? Was it Fortinet? What was the one he won? We have the worst memory. What was the tournament he won this year? The Fortinet.
He's won a ton of tournaments this year.
This year. I said the one this year, like the most recent one. He's only won twice on the PGA Tour.
I don't care. He's going to win a third time this week.
No, he's won 3 times. So this
fourth.
He won the Fortinet. There's no way he wins the Fortinet and this. There's just no way.
Okay, well, I don't care. I like him at 60-1. Go ahead.
What if I don't know? I mean, I feel weird even saying this, but I mean, I like Lonto Griffin at 60-1. It's weird to see him playing well again because he kind of didn't for a long time. It definitely didn't, but he gained strokes on Bermuda. He hits it well in the wind, which I think this is going to – we didn't talk about the weather. We're going to need to check into that. You're going to need to subscribe to our email list, be in the Nut Hut. Weather's going to play a factor for sure, I think, here in Houston. But he's a good win player, and when he was like doing his thing earlier, like in 2020, 2019, he played very well on tough golf courses, tough tracks, and now we're starting to see a little bit of form with the new season. 6th place at the Shriners, 7th at the Zozo. I like seeing a little bit of that form, and he's a proven PGA Tour winner, 60-1. I think is an okay number for Lonto. Not one of my favorite bets, but I think I'd take it.
Okay.
All right, that's probably it.
All right. Do I need to take over here?
No, I'm good. Next range up to 125-1. I got 2 names, and let me just check to make sure they haven't gotten freaking longer. Oh, well, no, one's gotten shorter. That sucks. Hold on. Okay, yep, they got short. Johnny Vegas is now 80-1. He was 90-1 2 hours ago at on PointsBet, but he's now 80-1 on DraftKings and PointsBet both. I mean, played at University of Texas, hits it a long way. PGA Tour winner, has popped recently with a little bit of form. I think Johnny V at 80-1. I'll throw something at. And then I know a guy both of us kind of like is Taylor Pendrith. We don't like his golf swing, but I mean the dude hits it. I mean, who are we to say anything about his golf swing because he hits it longer than God? So that's cool. And he almost won just a couple weeks ago before he crapped the bet on the 71st hole. So why not give him a shot at 110-1 on DK? That's it for me.
Okay. Well, I know you can't stand Mito Pereira 80-1.
Let's not get it twisted. I don't want to be known as a Mito hater. I like Mito a lot. I have been touting Mito since Mito got out here. But I just said he is simply for this week, he is transitioned, which is a popular thing to do in 2021 is transition. He is transitioned from Mito horny to Mito tired. He's whooped, man. He's ready for Christmas. He's ready to see his family, and he's ready to eat some stuff and come back in January raring and ready to go. But the dude has been running hard since his Battlefield promotion on the Corn Ferry Tour, and I think he's tired. And we've not seen him play a tough course yet. I just want to see him. All I'm saying is I just want to see him play one tough course, and let's see what happens when he has to miss.
I just didn't realize that transitioning was so popular in 2021.
Oh, yes, real popular. I mean, you'll be doing it here pretty soon.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, like, what do you mean? Like, what? Like transitioning?
Oh, yeah.
Just some transition?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you could transition now to the next pick.
Okay, we'll transition to the next pick. I'm surprised you didn't mention Luke List, but
well, that's because we're not in the right range.
Oh wait, he is 150-1, but he's
why.
There's some big difference on some of these guys. I do like him 12-1 top 10. A few others that I like here in this range. Well, I need to switch to a different book because the one I had wasn't. So you did the same thing. You were kind of looking at the wrong book.
God. This is a disaster. Do we just need to move to the next?
Yeah, let's move to the next range because everybody else I have is over.
Yeah, I don't have that many in that other range. So yeah, I mean now you're at bombs over 125-1.
Okay, so I just mentioned one. Luke List 150-1.
So you like Luke?
I do like Luke, but I think I like him better at that top 10 at 12-1. I don't think he's going to win, but you could get him at 150-1. Interesting. Keith Mitchell 150-1.
Yep.
Keith Mitchell, this could be a Keith Mitchell week. I really think it could be.
Tough golf course, rewards distance, and Bermuda. That is Keith Mitchell 100%.
Yeah, absolutely love that number for him. What's his top 10 number? Where is he?
He almost hit it for us a couple weeks ago.
Top 10 number is also 12-1, just like Luke List. So
when he finished third at the CJ Cup, my Spidey senses were going off for Keith Mitchell. And they're going off again right now.
Yeah. You got Hudson Swafford also. He's 180-1.
Yep. I like that.
14-1 is a top 10. I think that's a good play there. One other one that I think you could look at. Let's see. Who else? 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 Let's see. Who
Poor Scott Anderson in the chat says Ryan Palmer 130-1. No,
Oof,
I don't think
yeah.
so, man. I mean, I know it's Texas. I know it's Ryan Palmer. We want to do that, but I don't think the form's been good enough for something's going on with him right now. And
Yeah.
I like Ryan Palmer. I'm usually
Couple more here that I just like. So one, Dylan Fratelli, he's at
Yeah.
200-1 to win, 14-1 as a top 10, 35-1 as a top 5. The other guy, I think, and I would actually pose this question to our guests later because I'd like to know his opinion on this guy, and that is Peter Uihlein. He is 250-1. He is 16-1 as a
Hot
top
wife.
as a top 10 bet. Extremely hot wife.
Yeah.
But he played well on the Ferry Tour last year in some spurts. He's obviously had a lot of experience
PGA
on
Tour
the
experience,
PGA. Yeah, so I'm interested to see what our guest has to say. So hopefully he's listening and writing that down about Peter Uihlein, not just for this tournament, but maybe for 2021, 2022. So there you go.
Well, I don't hate any of those. Actually, I like a lot of those. I like a lot of bombs down here. I'm really trying to conjure up long shot season. I like Grayson Sigg at 150-1 because I see Sigg as that ball striker, kind of grindy, Bermuda loving, Sea Island Mafia member, son of a gun, Augusta boy. He's going to be on the podcast here pretty soon too. So I like Grayson Sigg at 150-1. And is it time to get back on my another lover boy of mine, Sepp Straka? We know I love some Sepp. He's finally making cuts again. He's trending very slowly from like a butt ton of missed cuts to a 66th at the Zozo where there was no cut to a 51st at Bermuda and a 33rd just last week. But he likes this place. He finished, what did he do here last year? He did pretty good here last year. Finished 5th here last year. It's a bomber's course. Is Sepp one to look at 140-1? Very possibly. But I love Hendrik Norlander at 150-1. I talked him up on the DFS show. He's not the longest player, but he's not short. He's a great ball striker. His iron play is tremendous. He scrambles well on Bermuda. Bermuda's his best putting surface, and that's usually what holds Hendrik back. I mean, he's just he's been in the hunt. He has been in a final group or two a couple of times on the PGA Tour in the last 12 months. Like, I think he could close the door if given the opportunity, and 150-1 is a big number. So Norlander for me is one that I like. Top 20s. Just some top 20. Now, I don't know where Pat started. We used to do on this show is name outrights and top 20s. All I ever put in the rundown is outrights and top 20s. And Pat wants to call out top 10s.
I just like some of the top 10 numbers. So
well, do you have any top 20 numbers or probably not?
Yeah, I got a few top 20 numbers. Yeah.
What are those?
Okay.
Like share with the class. Anyone that you didn't mention?
Well, I did not mention Chad Ramey. He's plus 300.
Oh, Ramey's playing good right now, huh?
I like that number for him. You got like Pendrith is plus 330. I think that's a good number for him. You don't like Adam Long, but I like him as a top 20 at plus 400. He has a good finish here. I think he was T11 last year on this course. I think that's a good number. List again. Luke List is plus 500 as a top 20. A couple more that are a little bit longer that I think are some decent numbers. Hudson Swafford plus 600, Dylan Fratelli plus 650, both as top 20s. Last one I'll give you, a guy who's played well recently, Vincent Whaley at plus 700. I think that's a good number too.
Okay. Let's hey Pat, let's do this. Why don't we recap our favorite picks? Just a few of our favorite picks, guys we think you need to jump on now before the line moves again. Our friends at Covers want us to kind of make sure we summarize what we've done here tonight, which we probably don't need to summarize all of what we've done here tonight, but just some favorite outrights, some top 20s. We think, hey, these are the early leans, the guys we think you need to jump on right now. One of these guys I actually didn't even mention. He slipped by me. I don't know how he slipped by me. I guess because I didn't want to get your wrath of saying his name over and over again. But Maverick McNeely for me continues to be a name that I continue to back, And at this point, I mean, in his last 10 events, he's given you 6 top 25s. He fired a 7-under round on Sunday, just yesterday, at Mayakoba. He's 45-1 outright. I think Maverick McNeely is ready to win. It's just a matter of putting the 4 rounds together. But I think he's ready. He was just in a final group a couple weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, during the swing season, and he just kind of choke jobbed it on the last couple holes. But Mav at 45-1 is one of my favorite outrights. Aaron Wise at 30-1, who I mentioned, is one of my favorite outrights, and Matt Wolff at 25-1. So kind of the shorter numbers for me, the short to mid-range numbers, this week. I guess I'm tired of seeing these short numbers win when we're used to seeing the bombs in the long shot season happen at this point of the year, but it is what it is. And then I've got 3 top 20s that I like. One is Aaron Wise at plus 140. I think that is about as, to me, it's like Matt Wolff's like a plus 110 top 20, but I wanted to go a little bit longer and feel like super good about it. And I think with Aaron Wise at plus 140, I do feel really solid about that top 20. And then I'm going to mix it up with 2 other bomb top 20s. Hendrik Norlander at 5-1 and Dylan Fratelli at plus 650, who you mentioned at for top 20s. Fratelli, hits it a mile and scrambles like some of the best on tour. Everything else he's pretty bad at. So, cross your fingers, but Fratelli's known to play well on a tough course that rewards distance and the ability to get up and down. So Fratelli at plus 650, Norlander at 5-1, and Wise at plus 140 are my favorite top 20s, and that's it for me.
All right, well, here's some of my favorites. I definitely got to go with Sung J M at 20-1. I think he's going to get he could possibly get a second win in the last month. So I like Sung J M. I like Brooks Koepka at 30-1. I'm sorry, I got to go with a guy that's as good as he is in this field, getting 30-1. I love that. And then Jason Kokrak at 50-1. I think that is probably my third favorite play this week. If you're looking at top 20s, you mentioned Fratelli. I think that's one that I really like this week. Another couple here that I think are really good plays. I like Shane Lowry at plus 150 as a top 20. And then another one I'll give you as well, outside of probably anybody I've mentioned, but I think this is just I don't know. I feel like this is just an easy top 20 bet here, and that is.
Are you figuring it out?
No, I got a little sidetracked. Seamus Power at plus 175. I mentioned him on the DFS show as a good play. I like him at plus 175.
I like Seamus. All right. There's your favorite early leans and recap presented by Covers.com. Check it out. Winning starts at Covers.com. Appreciate them for supporting the podcast. All right. So that kind of buttons up the betting picks, but we have a special guest tonight. And I guess an announcement. We've kind of alluded to it already. But we are expanding, right? So starting in January, we've already seen our boy Mark Hill kind of take the European Tour podcast and run with it. Under the Tour Junkies network, and Mark's doing a great job, tremendous job. And he's going to cover every European Tour event that hits the calendar from a DFS standpoint and a betting standpoint. But if you look around, it's like, well, hey, there's the Korn Ferry Tour too, which is super important, because not only can you bet on the Korn Ferry Tour, not only can you play DraftKings for the Korn Ferry Tour, but like, if you track it and you pay attention, then these guys before everyone else gets to know them on the PGA Tour when they show up at these events. So you can have a definite edge. And we love the Korn Ferry Tour, so we sought to find a host for said Korn Ferry Tour podcast, and we have found one. And if producer Sam wants to bring him in right now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tour Junkies Network. And tonight's podcast, not Justin Bieber, it's Garrett Simmons. Welcome, Garrett. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Look at Garrett. Look at him. He's all young and good looking and sounds great on that microphone, and he's ready to talk golf and help you lose a lot of money, right, Garrett?
That's right. That's what I'm good for.
Garrett Simmons comes to us. He's a former Korn Ferry Tour caddy for a few years. We'll let him tell you a little bit more about that, but Garrett's going to be hosting a Korn Ferry Tour podcast for us starting in January when it kicks back up, mid-January, I think it is. So every week, Garrett will be here talking up the KFT with some betting picks and some DFS stuff as well. Garrett, why don't you tell the folks a little bit more about you and your background?
Yeah, I like you said, 27. I went to Appalachian State, born and raised in North Carolina. Started caddying in college. Realized I could make a lot more money carrying a golf club than I could swinging one. I worked at a course called Diamond Creek up in the mountains, really high-end private course. When I graduated, did it full-time, went back and forth between there and their sister course, Congaree, down in South Carolina. Did that for about a year, then got plugged into a bag on the Ferry Tour. And from there, worked for a guy named Christian Brand for about a year, then moved over and worked for Max Rotliff for a season. Got out of the game, was tired of being on the road for a million weeks out of the year, and took a job with TrackMan. So I've built into design some indoor golf simulators, doing some work with PupView. Now I am in the real estate space, which I've always kind of been, but doing it more full time. Still playing golf, betting on golf, watching golf, plugged into all the players and caddies I knew along the way. I did actually work 2 PGA Tour events this year for a guy you guys will hear about, Tane Lee. I think he actually just finished 10th this week at Q School, so he's got some starts this year, and
nice.
And he's a stick. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Tane Lee, man. I mean, how was that going down toe to toe with DJ at Congaree?
It was fun. It was a perfect storm because obviously I knew that golf course because I was one of the first caddies there, so I knew it more than the rest of the field did. And then I also Tane's agent knew some people that knew me, so I didn't even actually know him before. I got a random call from a California number that I thought was trying to sell me health insurance or something, and it was Tane Lee. So it was full trust. He was like, just tell me where to hit it, and he just happened to be striped it all week. And then he Mondayed into the Rocket Mortgage a couple weeks later. I think it was like 6 events he Mondayed in this year. So we had a little missed a cut there, and I think he finished just outside the 200 to get to not make it to Korn Ferry Finals. So he was back to first stage Q School, which he battled through and got all the way through. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So as you look ahead to the Korn Ferry Tour season, like you look at the schedule, like how many of those tracks or are there probably how many of those tracks are you not familiar with as opposed to how many are you familiar with? I'm sure you probably know most.
Yeah, I would say since I've been out of the game, I probably know probably 90% of them. I think there's one new one this year in Louisiana, which is good because that other one was a piece of shit. And yeah, all the rest of the courses I know, there's some courses that do suck that guys will skip. The thing is guys really don't skip any courses because they can't afford to because every point mattered, everything. So those are the events that you kind of want to look out and realize the guys you want to fade, and realize there's even guys that will come back down from the PGA Tour and play in those events because they play good every year or vice versa, which you actually see a lot more of now because the PGA Tour runs so deep when there's an event every week. And so you'll see a lot of those like guys that have really bad status in the PGA Tour that aren't getting in to come back and play on the Korn Ferry Tour. Like Steven Yeager will come back and then win 6 Korn Ferry Tour events and then miss every cut on the PGA Tour. So,
yeah.
Which I heard Pat say something about Peter Uihlein, which I don't have a lot of experience with him, but he does feel like a very Steven Yeager-ish guy. Stripes it, can mess around and win a Korn Ferry event, and then you never hear about him until he's back on the Korn Ferry Tour.
It's kind of what's happened to him, right? I mean, he's been on tour before,
but he does have a very hot wife.
Okay. Yes, he does.
Most of them do.
Yeah. Okay.
That's important. Right. That's important for some of these people.
It is. Yeah.
No doubt. Garrett, any other kind of just things to know, things for people to understand, to know about the Korn Ferry Tour? Maybe they don't really follow it typically, or maybe they casually do. They've never bet on it before. Like anything you would want people to know up front before they start listening to your show when it drops in January.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. One of the big things that I don't think the general public doesn't really understand is these guys are like, it's a traveling circus. I mean, I think every tour player will tell you their funnest years playing golf or most fun years playing golf was on the Korn Ferry Tour. That being said, you're booking all your own travel. You're on Priceline more than you're on Marriott.com because you're trying to figure even the players, not just the caddies, trying to save $1. And so that alone kind of can wear on you. And if you're not prepared, some of these young guys that are 18, 19, that have all the game in the world, if they're not prepared to kind of like deal with everything else that comes with playing professional golf, then they can kind of, you'll see them come into trouble and be in trouble. That's one thing that and that still definitely exists on the PGA Tour, but you have agents are a little bit more involved, and you're not, it's not as, you're not doing as much of the dirty work on your own. Even self-advertisement. A lot of these guys don't have agents because agents aren't getting the big percentages of their deals, since they're doing all that on their own. That's one thing to look at. I mentioned the tour guys coming down and playing the Corn Ferry events. The purses have gone up this year, which will only just kind of put more money in their pockets. I don't think it's going to incentivize anyone to play better or worse.
What about your what do you like to gamble on, Garrett? It doesn't have to be golf.
So
you're a degenerate gambler.
It
right?
could be tough. It could be tough in Corn Ferry. I love to bet tournament matchups. So I'd pick someone that I love and pick someone that I hate, and then just bet them tournament matchup or maybe round one, and go from there. I'm actually I need to be more into your guys. I'm usually out on the long shot guys because I know anybody can win on any week out of the year. But I'm a big tournament matchup guy, which hopefully as gambling kind of takes off, that
we see more of this. Yeah,
see more of that in the Corn Ferry Tour, because it is tough to find numbers and top. Usually you just ski. I think the books kind of they know they don't know as much about these guys, and so they cover themselves by only saying, okay, outright winners. That's it.
Yeah.
And so that can be a little bit tougher. But
are there any guys on the Corn Ferry Tour that maybe either didn't make it through through the finals to the PGA Tour, through the Order of Merit to the PGA Tour, and they're going to be back on the Corn Ferry Tour again, or maybe guys that that just qualified that just finished up? That you kind of look at and go, that dude's got some game.
Yeah,
for this.
Couple. Kevin Doherty, Oklahoma State guy.
Yep.
He can play. I mean, he's one of those guys that his game probably fits the PGA Tour better than the Corn Ferry Tour.
Okay, what does that mean? Because I've heard people say that. What does that mean to you?
So like kind of what you're saying about Mito or Steven Yeager, like the Corn Ferry Tour, the rough is shorter, the greens aren't as fast. Like in the PGA Tour, if you're in the middle of the fairway from 150 yards, there's places in yardage books that you were just completely X'd out. If you have the best hands in the world, if you hit it over there, good 5. You're not making par.
Mm-hmm.
On the Corn Ferry Tour, you just fired every flag, and if you miss the green, you're either going to chip in or you have a putt for par. There's not really a lot of jail, and so that kind of comes with the mentality of how you're going to play, which can translate to both games. But the guys that are a little bit that aren't as tight, or that kind of get that aren't as patient, are going to fight. Like they can get away with that on the Corn Ferry Tour because they just fire at everything and they're good. But on the PGA Tour, they realize they're in that mindset. Okay, I don't need to shoot 7 under every single day. I can shoot 2 under, and I can shoot 2, 3, 6, 2, and be in contention. On the Corn Ferry Tour, you you can miss a cut shooting 6 under.
Yeah, you're trunk slamming.
Yeah, 69, 69. Thanks for coming out. We'll see you on. You're on the range on Saturday morning.
Who sounds to me like more of a PGA Tour person versus a Corn Ferry Tour? Maverick McNeely.
Shut up, dude.
Maverick McNeely.
Oh, the guy who just had 6 straight.
Yeah,
top 25s in the last 10 events.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's better on
kind
PGA
of,
Tour because he wasn't great on the Corn Ferry Tour. He wasn't.
He wasn't. I agree with all I mean, I don't know him well. He's been. I've been paired with him. We were paired with him a couple times. He's just a weird dude. And he dates Danielle King, and he's just weird. His game's good. I will say he putts the living shit. He putts the daylights out of it. Every putt he hits, if he doesn't, I would say him and Ben Coles is another one of the if his putts don't go in, they're a foot past the hole at make speed, touching the
Coles cup. Just cannot. He can't. What does he do? He just can't stay on the PGA Tour, and he's a lifer Corn Ferry guy. I knew him pretty well. He's one of the best dudes out there. He seems like a great dude.
I think he just kind of got his 1 year on tour. He was so young. I mean, he won his first 2 events as a pro, and I don't think he kind of got the gist of it. I think if he if he could have maybe slid through the cracks and kept his card a year or two, then he would have figured it out. And then he just got stuck kind of just keeping his card in the Corn Ferry Tour. I don't even know if he's won since. He's just like a top 10 machine. His caddy JJ is an absolute legend. He's like 90 years old with one tooth. So yeah, Ben. Who else is on my list? Braden Thornberry, Ole Miss guy.
Yeah, what happened to him? He was supposed to be a stud a couple years ago.
He's really, really good. I still think he's out. He played at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Okay. He's good. Another guy I really love is Stephen Franken, an NC State guy, North Carolina guy. Hits the shit out of it. Hits it a mile. He kind of had his there's a lot of guys that come out in the Corn Ferry Tour, and his talent alone was enough to keep his card. But I think just learning the whole professional golf, learning how to travel, he just got married, all of those kind of logistics. I think a lot of guys are really content with keeping their card for a year, believe it or not. There's guys that come out that are Corn Ferry rookies that are like, I just want to keep, because there's a lot of benefits. If you're in the 75, you keep your health care, you keep your, there's all these your pension, all of this stuff that's benefits. And so as the year gets on, people are less focused on winning, and they're like, I just want to stay in that 75 range. And then the next year they're like, all right, screw that. I can win an event. Charlie Saxon's another guy that's pretty good. Oklahoma bombs it. Kevin Doherty. I like Max Gracerman. He works with Jeff Smith, who works with Victor Hovland and those guys. He had a really good year last year, and he's now has 2 years under his belt. Man, they all hit it really far. New guys. I do like my guy Tainley. I like John Augenstein, who was a really big amateur guy. I don't know if he finished in the number, or he might get some starts.
He does get. I noticed today he was kind of the middle of the pack in Q schools, so I think he's going to get.
And then some of the guys that are outside the 40, which is kind of tough. I mean, there's guys that won't get any starts if you finish T50, T63. They have conditional status, but all that means is if they get a sponsor invite or they Monday in, their points count. But I think in that category, Akshay Bhatia, he's already Mondayed into a bunch of events. He'll Monday in. He's a stick. Literally, he's 80 pounds.
Oh, yeah, no, we know. Chalk Bomb Ben's big Akshay stalker. He follows Akshay to restaurants and stuff.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely more creepy because he's 13 years old.
Yeah. Ben's a creepy guy, man. If you've not seen him before.
Austin Eckroat, I love, the Oklahoma State guy.
Yeah.
His game's really good. He's made a couple cuts on the PGA Tour. I also love, this is kind of sketchy to say, but I like Tom Lovelady. He hits it really good. He's
on the tour for a minute.
So he's a tour caliber player. He just kind of got in. He's a head case. I mean, he's one of the worst. He had one of the worst attitudes. And I think this past year he quit golf. He was working for Discovery Landing and has this new kind of view on golf.
Discovery Landing? Is that a kids science center?
Discovery Landing is that company that owns Baker's Bay and owns the Summit and all those things.
I thought that was where kids go and mess around with electromagnetic fields and stuff. And
I like Tom Lovelady.
Garrett just did that field trip 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. There's another guy, Jeremy Paul, his brother Yannick Paul. They're twins.
Jake
from
Paul,
Germany.
Is that Jake Paul's brother? Does he?
No, I don't think so. His brother just qualified for the European Tour. He just made it through finals. That's another name.
Oh yeah, Yannick.
They've lived in Scottsdale. He's kind of been a mini tour legend over the last few years. They're really good. I've seen them.
We followed them around a little bit when there was no golf in what was that tour? That little mini tour out there.
Oh yeah, the one that Joel Damon will play in. Yeah.
Oh, the
Outlaw Tour.
The Outlaw Tour.
Yeah.
The Paul Bros destroy the Outlaw Tour.
Oh yeah, and they live in Scottsdale, and it's actually people don't realize it. If you are a decent player, you can make more money playing on mini tours than the Corn Ferry Tour because you don't have expenses. So if you're outside the 75 in the Corn Ferry Tour, you're losing money because you're paying your caddy every week, whether you miss the cut, you're flying 7 nights in a hotel. Mini tour, you just hop in your car, you drive, you pay whatever, $500, $1,000, $2,000, and then you drive home. So if you win a couple of those events, I mean, you can make good money being a mini tour legend. Gosh. Who else is in that? Brandon Crick is a guy that I actually worked a couple weeks for before. He's really good.
Seen his name, yeah.
He's boys with Larry the Cable Guy. I don't know, he met him somewhere. That's his big sponsor. I like Scott Harrington. I think he's back on the tour this year. He's kind of been back
Harrington
and
was
forth.
so I was just hanging out with his Kyle Peters, who caddies for
Yeah,
Hubbard,
Peppers. Yeah.
caddied for Harrington this week in the landings, and
Okay.
so we just hung out yesterday. And Harrington
Yeah.
was playing well. He kind of started off bad because he got a rough draw, but came on strong.
The other thing that I look at is like so the instructors that these guys work with, there's a really big trend on who works with who. So like for instance, Jeff Smith works with Victor Hovland, he works with Max Gracerman, some Boyd Summerhays is taking on all these guys, and it's not a coincidence that he's just started working with Taylor Gooch, and Gooch is going through the roof. Mark Blackburn, one of the best teachers in the country, he's now got Homa. Gary Woodland just got on with them. So there's a lot of guys that still teach some Corn Ferry Tour guys that are kind of under the radar that their games are improving. Like Victor Hovland didn't just wake up and say, "Oh, I can chip now." Like there's been some serious work put in.
Yeah.
The only other guy on my list is Jimmy Stanger, UVA guy. He's been out there for like 2 or 3 years. And he's just like, he's one of those guys you watch on the driving range that is just, well, how does he not shoot 65 every time?
But
say that on me too, man.
If you only play 13 holes.
Listen, Garrett, we're looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to enjoy getting educated on the Corn Ferry Tour and the guys and just kind of how it works, which I think is going to be a lot of fun to hear. Garrett obviously knows a lot of the caddies, a lot of the players, obviously these golf courses. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to listening to it myself. But we'll have Garrett on the PGA Tour show as well, handful of times. We'll hop on with him. But we wanted to get him on to introduce him to everybody before the season really starts, even though it's a couple months away. Because it really doesn't get started until it's the Bahamas, like mid-January, right?
January. Yeah, mid-January.
And it's like the first 2 weeks of the year, like a Sunday through Wednesday, right? Or is it?
Yeah, which honestly they should do all year because they would have way more coverage. They'd have way more coverage. If guys get into a PGA Tour event, they don't have to decide. That's the other thing. A lot of these guys, they won't go play in a tour event because they don't want to ruin their number on the whatever.
I wish they would do that.
The only other thing I would say as far as like, why bet on the Corn Ferry Tour is that there's just a lot more stuff that people don't know, or so-and-so like ate in and out for like 2 weeks straight, or didn't sleep more than 3 hours the entire week in Colombia. Like he's got no chance, and those are the kind of things that the players.
You want a married man in Colombia?
Yeah, you want a married man in Colombia. There's just a lot more. You have a lot more like
maybe a Mormon. You get another Boyd Summerhays student, maybe.
Right. I think guys are kind of. It's almost like freshman year of college, almost getting on the Corn Ferry Tour. There's guys that are just sheltered. They're like, oh wow, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I got a blue check mark by my name now. Like all these other opportunities come up, and so there's a lot of guys that are learning how to just navigate pro golf off the golf course. That you just kept, once they get to the PGA Tour. Not that you don't have, some shenanigans out there, but I would say in general, it's a little bit more business when you're playing for 10 times as much money on the PGA.
Yeah.
But the only other thing I will say is watch out for Davis Riley. He'll win on the PGA Tour, 100%.
Okay.
And he was in the long shot this week at like that 200-1 range.
He's out there right now.
And he's an Alabama stick that JT backs and says, he's good. So cool.
Yep. He's a real deal. 6,500 on DraftKings right now. He's like, 200 something to 1. T7 at the Bermuda a couple weeks ago. Riley's a good player for sure. We'll see. I feel like he needs to get in the hunt first. We need to see him in the hunt.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet him. Maybe he's kind of one of the guys you want a sneaky top 25 or top 20 or like a tournament matchup guy. I wouldn't say his first time in contention he's going to come home and win, but. Cool. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Garrett, we appreciate you, man. And listen, y'all can catch Garrett Simmons on the Corn Ferry Tour Junkies podcast starting in mid-January. Garrett, former caddy out there, knows a lot of the guys, doing some work with TrackMan, Putt View, dabbling in the real estate. Garrett's just got the whole life working out for him right now. Look at him. Just look at him. Look at me and Pat, then look at him, then look back at me and Pat, then look at him. And you can see there's one of us that has their life going for him right now, and it's Garrett. So, all right. Thanks for joining, man. We appreciate it. Listen, everybody have a great week for the Houston Open. May your screens be green. Get that cheddar. Let's go to the betting ticket window and have a great night. We'll see you next week for the last tournament preview of the season of the year of 2021 of our Lord RSM Classic next week. See you.